Welcome back. Iran has announced it has temporarily released 54,000, more than that, 54,000 prisoners in an effort to combat the spread of the new coronavirus disease in crowded jails. The inmates were granted follow after testing negative for COVID-19 and posting bail. Here's Simon Pusey with more international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel studio here in London with your 5-minute update from around the world. Italian media say the Pope has tested negative for the new coronavirus, having been tested due to being sick.
Cari fratelli e sorelle.
The 83-year-old is reported to have a fever and a sore throat before he was swab tested for the virus. The pontiff has been seen coughing and blowing his nose in recent appearances. He has cancelled a Lent retreat for the first time in his papacy because he is suffering from a cold. It comes as Italy is Europe's worst affected country, with more than 2,000 people infected and 52 dead. Meanwhile, in China, travellers from countries with severe coronavirus outbreaks who arrive in the south of the country will have to undergo a 14-day quarantine. Shanghai will also ask new arrivals from countries with relatively serious conditions to be isolated. Beijing is worried the virus might be imported back into the country. Numbers of newly infected in China are falling. Senegal has reported its first confirmed case. At a press conference, Senegal's Minister of Health said the patient was a 54-year-old French man. The patient is currently under quarantine. In Tanzania, the State House has shared a picture of President John Magufuli exchanging a foot greeting with opposition politician Maalim Seif Sharif Hamad. It's to jokingly highlight advice for people to avoid hugging, kissing and greeting people by hand to prevent the spread of the virus. And the UK has unveiled preparations to tackle the virus. The government says up to a fifth of the workforce may be off sick during the peak of the epidemic. Earlier, the UK Prime Minister emphasised that keeping the country safe was the government's top priority.
And the plan has 4 strands: containing the virus, delaying its spread, researching its origins and cure, and finally, mitigating the impact.
The US presidential candidate Joe Biden has picked up 3 endorsements from former rivals on the most important day in the 2020 White House race so far. Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke are all campaigning with the former US vice president in Dallas in Texas. Voters in 14 states are picking their preferred Democratic candidate for November's election, and moderate Democrats are increasingly rallying around the former vice president to strengthen his challenge against the frontrunner Bernie Sanders.
Folks, you know, just a few days ago, the press and the pundits declared this campaign dead. But South Carolina had something to say about it. Tomorrow, Texas and Minnesota and the rest of Super Tuesday states, we're going to have a lot to say about it.
However, the left-wing socialist Bernie Sanders still has a narrow lead, as well as a huge public following.
Joe, in his campaign, has received campaign contributions from more than 60 billionaires. Does anybody think that we're going to bring about the change we need in America when you are indebted to 60 billionaires?
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has claimed victory in Israel's general election, with partial results putting him ahead of the main rival Benny Gantz. Exit polls suggest his right-wing bloc is on course to win 59 seats to become the biggest group, but will still be short of a majority by 2 seats. Nevertheless, Mr. Netanyahu declared the outcome the biggest win of my life. Monday's election was Israel's 3rd in less than a year after neither leader was able to form a government. Indonesia's Mount Merapi volcano has erupted, sending a 6-kilometre column of ash into the air. It triggered the closure of the airport in the nearby city of Solo in the densely populated Java Island. Located near the cities of Yogyakarta and Solo, it is one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, and a series of eruptions from it in 2010 killed more than 350 people. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the studios in Nigeria.
Thanks, Simon. Here's Olumide Macaulay with sports news.
Thank you, Amarachi. Hello and welcome to Sports News. Japan's Olympic minister says the coronavirus outbreak could lead to the Tokyo Games being staged later in 2020. Seiko Hashimoto's response to a question that the contract to stage the Games states they have to take place in 2020 in the Upper House of Parliament means the Olympics could be held later in the year and will not have to start on July the 24th as planned. The International Olympic Committee, the IOC, has reiterated its commitment to the successful staging of the Tokyo Olympic Games this summer. The IOC says a joint task force had been created in mid-February with itself, the Tokyo Games organizers, the city, the government, and the World Health Organization to help deal with the coronavirus ahead of the Olympics. In the English FA Cup, Liverpool's week has gone from bad to worse after suffering a fifth-round exit against Chelsea. Ross Barkley and Willian got on the score sheet to send the Blues into the quarterfinals. The Brazilian Football Federation will seek the permission of PSG for Neymar to captain the national team as they look to defend their title at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The striker was one of 3 over 23 players that featured as Brazil won Olympic gold on home soil in Rio in 2016. Finally, the Torch of Unity for the forthcoming National Sports Festival, tagged Edo 2020, has arrived at Owerri, the Imo State capital, and received by the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma. Governor Uzodinma says he's confident that the Edo 2020 National Sports Festival will be better and improved than previous editions. He wished the Imo contingent of the National Sports Festival a successful outing.
The talk is on his way to His Excellency the Governor, State Director of Sports, Mrs. Chizota Aratola, to the Excellency the Deputy Governor, and finally, ladies and gentlemen, the Festival Torch of Unity.
That's it on Sports News. It's back to Amarachi for the conclusion of the news at 10.
And the main news again. The Supreme Court today dismissed an appeal by former Imo State Governor, Mr. Emeka Ihedioha, which asked the court to overturn its judgment, sacking him from office. The Apex Court insisted that it does not have competence to review its own judgment. Also today, the Chinese national quarantined in Lagos for suspected coronavirus tests negative to the disease. The state government says that the confirmed case in Nigeria remains only one. And Iran today temporarily freed over 54,000 prisoners as part of measures to combat the new coronavirus spread. That is the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night.